Dana White. Dana, always good to talk to you, my man. How you feeling? Big week.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you. So why don't we jump right into this, Dana? You've got a co-main event at UFC 309. Jon Jones is putting his title on the line, right, against Stipe Miocic. How do you see that clash between the all-time great Bones and the two-time former champ, who are both coming off long layoffs? How do you expect that to play out?
Yeah, it's the greatest fighter of all time versus the greatest heavyweight of all time. I think that, it's very clear what I think about Jon Jones as a fighter. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on Stipe. They forgot. I mean, Stipe knocked out Daniel Cormier, who's one of the greatest of all time too, and a ton of other heavyweights. He is a real threat in this fight, and I think people are sleeping on him.
Damn, Dana, you beat me to it. I was so proud of that point, too. I was going to say, is it me or are people sleeping on Stipe and disrespecting this guy? I mean, disrespecting this guy. I think folks are underestimating how tough a fight this could be for Jones, who's only fought once himself in the last 4 years and only once at heavyweight. They are not only sleeping on Stipe, they're disrespecting him, aren't they?
Yeah, and I know the way Stipe thinks. I know his mindset. It's driving him crazy, and he's pissed off probably at the fact that so many people are disrespecting him, and I think it makes for a very interesting fight.
It's going to be a really interesting fight. Dana White's joining us. So, Dana, hypothetically, I know you don't deal in hypotheticals, but hypothetically, if Jones does win that fight, what does his future look like? We know what he wants, but what does his future actually look like if he wins that fight?
Well, John's weird in how he deals with this type of stuff. Like, he'll show up for a fight like this, and then he'll be prepared mentally, physically, everything else. And then when the fight's over, he sort of goes and disappears and has to get that, I don't know if you'd call it he wants to challenge himself again. And Tom Aspinall is there. And, he's doing the whole, I didn't deserve it. But John, when he was 23 years old and became the youngest champion ever, somebody gave him the opportunity for greatness. And I think John will eventually come back and face Tom Aspinall. But if he decides Saturday night, that's it, it's over, it's his right to make that decision. What this guy's accomplished, nobody else has even come close to accomplishing, and he's the greatest of all time, so we'll see.
Dana White joining us. Dana, bottom line, is he ducking Aspinall?
For anybody to say he's ducking anybody, Jon Jones is like 37, 38 years old. He's fought everybody. He's fought all the best in the world in their prime, been doing it since he was 23 years old. He doesn't duck any, and he's undefeated. He's never lost a fight, which is unbelievable in like 16 years.
All right, fair enough. Why do you think he does not want to fight him? Like, for instance, before you answer that, he actually gave a reason, Dana. His reason is he doesn't want to do business with Aspinall, quote, he's just an a-hole, bro. If you had a little bit more respect, maybe we could have worked something out. I mean, is that how it is, Dana? Is it because he's an a-hole and he disrespected John?
That is classic Jon Jones right there. Classic Jon Jones. John will do what he does on Saturday. If he wins, like I said, he'll disappear for a while, and then that, the competitive spirit will start bubbling up again, and then money will talk. And if he doesn't decide to retire, he absolutely, positively fights Aspinall.
Not Pereira.
He's not fighting Pereira.
That's what he's asking for. Obviously, he wants that BMF belt. So you tell me either you retire. Is this what it comes down to, Dana? He retires or he fights Aspinall?
Aspinall was a middleweight that moved up to light heavyweight, okay? He's also a kickboxer who has done very, very well in MMA. His wrestling isn't even near the level of Jon Jones, and Jon Jones is way bigger than him. If Jon Jones wants to fight again after Saturday night, he will fight Tom Aspinall.
Dana White joining us. Appreciate that, Dana. The other main co-fight you've got is Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira. It's a rematch of UFC 262, which was 3 years ago. Oliveira won that fight by TKO in the second round. Dana, I spoke to Michael last week, and he was hyped, even for him. He says he's better now at 38 than he was back then. Do you buy that, and what are you expecting from Chandler Saturday night?
Well, what I would buy at 38 is obviously he's more seasoned. I mean, this guy's a vet. He's done it all. He's held world titles before. This is a tough fight, man. This one's fun. The co-main event, it's tough for this not to be fight of the night, in my opinion. Anything is possible with these guys. Both guys can clip you. Both guys can take you down and submit you. Anywhere this fight goes, it's fun.
UFC 309 coming up, Madison Square Garden this weekend. Dana White joining us. Dana, obviously, Chandler's got that major challenge in front of him. We know this. He also told me, though, that he has not given up on that scheduled fight with Conor McGregor. I could see where he would not want to give up on that. Does Conor want that fight as much as Chandler wants that fight? And when do you see Dana, or when do you see Conor returning to the octagon?
Yeah, that's a fun fight. I think Conor and Chandler both like that fight. When Conor comes back, which I see being, sometime the later part of next year, we'll see where everybody's at and what's going on, and we'll figure out who faces Conor. But there's no denying. That's why everybody was so excited about it. Chandler and Conor McGregor is a fun fight.
I mean, Dan, I don't know how many times you and I have talked about Conor over the years, and it's always about this type of thing. Like, how often do you actually speak with him and communicate with him? Do you know for a fact that he does want to come back next year, for a fact?
Yeah, no, it's a fact that he does. He and I probably talk, 4 or 5 times a month. So he definitely wants to come back, and, we'll just say, listen, I told you, every time I'm on here, I tell you, money messes everything up. So
no, every time you come on, Dan, you tell me the same thing, and I agree with you. Once you have $100 million in the bank, you're less likely to want to get up every single morning and get punched in the face. That stands to
100%.
reason. That stands to reason. Hey, Dana, what about Bo Nickel? Now, here's a really interesting fight to me. He's obviously a rising star. What do you like best about him? And then how big of a step up in class is his fight versus Paul Craig?
This is the toughest fight of his career. I'll tell you the number one interesting stat about this fight, right? Bo Nickel, 100% finish rate. Paul Craig, 100% finish rate. That's a fun fight.
Somebody's going to get finished. I like that. I like that a lot. What about the atmosphere at the Garden? It should be incredible. As somebody, Dana, who came up in boxing, what's it represent to you that the promotion is going back to the Mecca for an 8th time?
How about this? How about all the time that we tried to get into New York and get sanctioned here, and we were being blocked by a corrupt politician, right? So we finally get in here. Now UFC is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 6, number 8, and number 9 top 10 all-time gates at Madison Square Garden.
In other words, you're pretty happy to be there.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Every time we come here once a year, it's always special. It's always big, and the crowd is always incredible. So in the next couple of years, my friend, I will have all top 10 gates. I'll be all top 10 at Madison Square Garden all time.
Dana White joining us. All right, Dana, what about, let me just jump around a little bit. How impressive was my guy Chimaev at UFC 308? You know I love him. How impressive was he to you, and what's next for him?
Yeah, no, he looked incredible. And, his manager was telling me before the fight that mentally, physically, and emotionally, he's the best he's ever been. He said, I'm telling you, wait till you see him on Saturday. And he was right. He was dead on. This guy's never looked better, especially against the competition that he had. I'm looking forward to him getting the title fight in 25.
So what's next? Who specifically is next for him?
We'll see how this plays out here. But I want him to fight in the United States. I want him to fight for a title here in the U.S.
All right, Dana, what about Topuria? Would you say the same thing about him? He also looked really good at UFC 308. What did you think about his performance, and then what's next for him?
His performance was incredible, especially against Max Holloway, whom I've had the utmost respect for his entire career. Yeah, he looked good. He's the real deal, and I'm looking forward to him defending his title in Spain for the first time.
All right, Dan, let me ask you something. I mean, I'm not looking to trigger you in any way, but when you've got Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fighting, just hear me out on this. Is this a total joke and a farce to you, or might it grab some people that are not already fight fans, and could that be a positive thing? Could you make an argument that this is a good thing?
I will not say anything bad about this fight because I love Mike Tyson. And the only thing that I hope is that Mike comes out of this fight healthy.
Are you concerned that he might not?
I just hope he does. At 58 years old, I mean, I'm 55, and obviously I've never been the level of athlete that Mike Tyson is, but 27 versus 58, I mean,
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great idea.
It's hard to like consistently work out when you're that age, just for health purposes and not get hurt. To train for something like this, it's just. I love Mike. I hope he makes a bunch of money on Saturday or Friday, and I hope he comes out healthy.
I hear that. I was going to say, Dan, one last thought. Like Mike, other than money, is there any reason why that guy needs that? Is there any other reason for him to do that other than money?
No. But when you've accomplished what Mike Tyson has accomplished, and that type of money is offered to you, it's hard to not. And it's not about Mike having money issues or anything like that. Mike does fine. Mike does well. But when you have that type of money waved in front of you, I told the story. It's been told a million times, but like when Mike was going to fight before, I said, Mike, don't do this. So I put him on Shark Week. I get a deal done for him to do Shark Week. And he's like, oh, yeah, you care about me. I've been fighting since I was 12, but you want to throw me in the water with sharks. You're an idiot. And I can't disagree with him. He's absolutely right. You know what I mean? Throw him in the water with a bunch of sharks down in Florida when he could have been, fighting, which is something he's been doing since he was 12. So at the end of the day, it's none of our business. It's Mike Tyson's business. He's a grown man, does what he wants to do. And I love him, and I just want the best for him.
I'm going to take it one step further, Dana. He's all those things, and I don't jack with Mike. I don't mess with Mike. I love Mike. I don't mess with Mike. I mean, Mike can do Mike, and Mike can do his thing. UFC 309, Saturday night, Madison Square Garden. An excellent, excellent card. Dana, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us to talk about that. Always good to have you on the show.
You too, brother. Good to see you. Have a great weekend.
You too, Dana. Have a great weekend. It's going to be a good weekend. UFC 309.